Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, new 2DS bundles, Splatoon updates, and the mysterious case of the disappearing pre-orders. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellis, joined as always by my co-host Mark Mitchell. How's it going, Mark?
That's going all right.
That was a hard break. I came out the gate. I was shouting a little bit. I was talking fast. Mark's like, I'm all right.
I'm moseying through my evening.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned before we started recording that you're feeling a little blue.
Yeah, I can't really pinpoint it. I mean, everything's going fine in my life. Did I have a dream last night that like my tooth fell out in a horrifically violent fashion? Of course I did. But that doesn't mean that I can't be doing all right.
Is teeth falling out, is that a normal kind of dream for you?
I feel like when I have like body trauma in dreams, it usually is like loose teeth or teeth that are like falling out.
I feel like loose teeth for sure is like I don't know why, but people are like, my teeth can't be loose. I won't say that it's a recurring dream, but I suppose it is in that I've had it more than once. That I dream the inside of my hand is hollow. And like the surface of my hand is like starting to chip away, and I can see like into the inside of my hollow hand.
That one I've never heard of before. I feel like teeth-related dreams are in like dream books and stuff. Like those are fairly common.
It means something. Hollow hand.
That one I'm not familiar with.
Weather report.
Pleasant.
Totally pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
Getting nice and cool though. That's gonna turn around on us.
Presumably.
Well, right, because it always does.
Yeah.
Mark, you pulled some guest weather today.
That's right. It's for how do you say it?
Hey, you pulled it, man. Reykjavik?
Yeah, that's right. Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
Doing good, right? When I pulled this, it was 1 a.m.
Right, middle of the night.
It was 50 degrees. That sounds lovely.
That sounds nice. Crisp, probably.
Yeah, well, and it also doesn't look like they have much variance in their weather. It's like the high is maybe 56, and then the low is 49. That's crazy. That there's just like a 10-degree difference.
Same temperature.
Yeah.
Well, so Iceland, right?
Right now they're getting a lot of sunshine.
They're getting a lot of sunshine, right? So I would imagine that there's not much variance between day and night.
That's true. That makes sense.
The sun's just out and low all the time.
Do you think you would like that?
Did you see that movie Insomnia?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I would like it. I think it would be unpleasant.
But if you weren't a murderer, do you think you would like it?
It isn't the detective also driven mad by it?
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So I'm saying that both sides of the coin, cop and criminal, they're both equally unnerved by it.
Has to be great for filming movies though, or like photography, because it's like the magic hour for most of the day.
But does that make it all not very magical? Mark, let's talk about what we got wrong last week.
Because we did get something wrong.
We did get something wrong. In our conversation about Splatoon 2, we couldn't really narrow down which of the original Squid sisters had gone missing, Callie or Marie. We said Marie, but that's not right. It's Callie who's gone missing. We were wrong on that one. Shout out to Twitter user Penquin for setting us straight. That's our bad.
That's our bad.
That is our bad. Thank you for keeping us honest.
Yeah, I'm loath to admit a mistake, but in this case, I did err.
Yeah, it's just what we got to own up to our mistakes. Mark, what have you been playing this week?
So I've of course been playing some more Splatoon 2.
Mm-hmm.
Really enjoying that still.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I still kind of wishing there was some more stage variety occasionally, especially because so you get there are 2 in a 2-hour block.
Yeah.
But there are times where I will just play the same one over and over and over and over again.
Sure.
And never see that second one.
You're not feeling the rotation of that second one. Yeah, I feel that sometimes. I don't. All of my gameplay sessions are short enough that like I'm never playing it for more than like half an hour in a sitting, 45 minutes maybe, or at least not all turf wars in that time. I'll pop over to Salmon Run if it's available, or the single player, and anything like that. I feel like um, there are ways to vary up your gameplay experience, but you have to like be mindful of what's available when to do it, which maybe isn't the best, but I don't know. I'm also really enjoying it still.
And we both picked up Overcooked
Yes.
this past week.
And we were just playing a little bit of it now because you said that you weren't able to play multiplayer.
Right, and I picked it up with the intention of playing multiplayer, and I intend to do so in the future. But when I was playing it before we played together tonight, it was just single player, not very fun as a single player game.
Right. Like it as a single player game, it seems like it's like rote instructions. You do this, you follow instructions, follow the steps, try to get it done. But when you've got multiple people doing it, you're yelling at each other and getting in each other's way and like shouting about chopping onions. I think it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. So when I was playing in single player, I was feeling like the game didn't do a very good job of introducing new mechanics, and I still kind of feel that way. Where, in my mind, the correct progression, the way this game should have progressed, is it should have had a few levels that are very basic, and at first, like the kitchen itself doesn't change, and they're just adding new ingredients and teaching you how to do that.
Yeah,
and then they start slowly introducing new mechanics into the kitchens themselves. But that is not how this game is designed.
No, it ramps up both the recipes and the kind of environmental problems at the same time, and I like that because it makes each level its own like separate puzzle box that you're like, okay, now I've got to like I know the rules of cooking stuff. There are only so many different like variations on like you chop a thing, you put it in another thing, you add it to something else and serve it. But then like, oh, this one there's an earthquake every now and then, and the kitchen splits into like two separate levels of kitchen. You can like throw stuff down to the other person, or like you're on a boat and so things shift around. I don't know. I think the game's great. I'm really enjoying it.
Definitely worth the $20.
Absolutely. And there's a bunch of like all the DLC that is in this thing is just packed in. The game is so like hard and frustrating in like a fun way that like I am not looking forward to getting to like the like extra hard stuff at the end of it.
My experience is it's only fun when you're like that level of stress is only fun when you're playing with other people.
Yeah.
When you're doing it by yourself, this game is just so stressful and not in a particularly enjoyable way.
Well, Mark, that's what we've been playing this week. Let's get a look at what we might be playing next week in the new releases.
So last week we had kind of a bumper crop of new releases. This week, a little more slim pickings. August 3rd. So nothing coming out today, August 1st, Tuesday. Usually something's released, but nope. So on August 3rd, Thursday, for the Wii U eShop, big ups to the Wii U. Flight of Light. I won't even pretend to know what that is.
Nope.
4 releases for the Switch eShop. Retro City Rampage DX, which I have now learned just means deluxe, basically. Because, right, that's what the Pokken tournament DX is.
Yeah, but we can still read it as DX.
Sure,
right?
sure, yes.
It's not like
I was just bragging about the knowledge that I acquired. Yeah.
Just as long as we don't have to call it D-Cross, I'm fine with that.
Oh, yeah, that's gross. Even if that's how it was supposed to be pronounced, I would refuse on principle.
I understand.
Puzzle. Okay. River City Rampage.
Retro City Rampage.
Retro City Rampage. I always get this confused with. Oh wait, so Retro City Rampage must be some sort of like take on.
Yes, it takes its cues from the. I'm gonna forget. I'm gonna forget what the name of that series. The Jesus, I can. I've got no words here. Yeah, those what's it? River City Ransom. Those games.
Yes.
Jeez. Wow. Man, what happened to me, Mark? Did you see my soul jump out of my eyes just to not be in that moment?
Oh, I have nothing. I don't know. I mean, these aren't really my type of thing, but you tend to like beat 'em ups, right?
Yeah, I like beat 'em ups. Okay, I don't think. I mean, we can keep going through this list. I think this is mostly a week that I'm not going to get anything.
Same here. There's Puzzle Adventure Blockle. I'm assuming that's not a typo because I'm the one that put it in there, but
Right.
I don't really know. Slime San like the Japanese honorific,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Neo Geo game for the week is Aero Fighters 2.
So a weird week where I don't care about anything.
Well, it's one of those things where last week I was saying I don't understand how they timed the release of these games because last week there were a lot
yeah.
of eShop releases on the Switch. A couple of bigger names.
Yeah.
It's like, why not save one
Just
of those
hold
for
one
this
of
week?
those.
I really don't get it. But
Like,
whatever.
If Namco Museum came out this
Yeah.
week,
Why not this week?
it would be the only thing out there. It doesn't make this doesn't make sense to me.
I really don't understand it. And I'm sure like next week when we talk about it, one of these games will actually have not been released.
Right. Also, we'll come up on it in the news, but there are games that just get released on some of these platforms without us even knowing, and we have to go back and talk about it later, which we will when we get to the news in just a second. But before the news, we've got a regular segment on our show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So for the duration of one performance of 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, what are we talking about this week?
We're going to rank the Star Wars prequels.
Okay, we are going to rank them from worst to best.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Do we need to? Is there any ground that we need to cover? Like, are there any like things we need to establish first, or can we just get into it? Like, do you have your list? Do I have my list? How do you want to get into it?
I think our list might be very similar.
Okay.
I mean, there's only 3, and I think we all know what the worst one is.
Attack
of the Clones. Yeah,
right.
Hands down.
Yeah. That movie's borderline unwatchable.
Yeah, it's not even like I don't know if there's anything in it that's worth revisiting.
Yeah, yes. Well, and like I think there are story ideas and like design concept stuff that is strong in all 3 of these movies.
Totally.
But like, and in the actual like film craft, Attack of the Clones is the worst Star Wars movie. Full stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree.
And I mean, I'm putting like the Ewok adventures and
has the Ewoks. They're at least cute.
Yeah, the Ewoks are cute. There's nothing cute. What's the cutest thing in Attack of the Clones?
Oh, R2D2.
That's probably right. Okay, so where do you go after that?
I say second worst is Revenge of the Sith.
I think I agree, but I don't know. I hold both of the remaining 2 movies in such low regard that it's hard for me to say, like, they both set out to do like specific things, right? Like Phantom Menace is like, this is a movie for kids. It's a kiddie movie where they jump around and like shout and stuff.
You know, that's what they say, and that's what George Lucas was always talking about. But I don't really believe that, because nothing in the plot is juvenile.
Okay, that is true.
The plotting itself,
right?
There's nothing.
It's too complicated.
Yeah,
the plotting is too complicated. It's all like
it's about trade disputes.
Yes. But it also features like a lizard fish man who steps in poop, right?
Right.
And talks funny. And then also a child who like says wahoo and like does spinning, because that's a good trick.
And another point against the Phantom Menace is that it's probably the most casually racist of the movies.
Yep. I think that's right. Yeah, the Trade Federation guys are oh man, their accents are rough, right?
Well, even their design is
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much like is very. I mean, let's just say they're Asian.
Oh yeah, they're bad Asian stereotypes, and like Jar Jar Binks has some like bad like black stuff too. So like,
Right.
okay,
And
so
Watto's like
oh yeah,
heavily Jewish stereotypes.
yeah. So that's I'm gonna I'm gonna go ahead and say that's number 2 for me. It's still better than Attack of the Clones.
So the only reason I usually, although I just think I talked myself out of it,
Yeah,
but the reason
pretty convincingly too.
but the reason I usually put Phantom Menace higher is because it at least seems to be what George Lucas actually wanted to make, whereas Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, to me, feel like he saw all the feedback and was
Right.
like, fine,
Fine,
and like
hard
did his
correction.
own thing.
Yeah,
Like hard correction, trying to please people, and it was still terrible.
right.
But so at least the first one was his like him doing what he wanted to do.
Sure, you think that Phantom Menace is like, at the very least, it is the realization of one man's artistic vision.
Yes. No, it's too bad that is very racist. But
hey,
it is his vision.
What do you want from a 70-year-old white filmmaker? I mean, like, it's gonna be a little bit racist.
So Revenge of the Sith.
Here's the thing. I will go to bat for the score of the first one, of Phantom Menace. Because it's got that Duel of the Fates,
Mhm.
and it's got that cool march at the end. I like those a lot, and I don't think there is any new music in episode 3 that rivals that.
Yeah.
But if we had other points in favor of episode 3, we will never know. We were accompanied today by G. Liu. So thank you for that. Mark, let's actually get into the news with no more digressions into Star Wars.
On August 25th, Nintendo is going to be launching a new 2DS, new Super Mario. Oh, let me start that over because that's confusing. Because now there's a 2DS and a new 2DS.
Right.
So Nintendo on August 25th is launching a 2DS, new Super Mario Brothers 2 bundle for $79.99.
Okay. So this is a old
2DS.
2DS.
So like the non-clamshell, the like slate
Yes.
2DS type
The
thing.
doorstop.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the wedge.
Okay.
I mean, $80. Yes, it's the old 2DS. But for $80, including new Super Mario Brothers 2, I think that's a really good deal.
Yeah, wasn't that the price that they were the
2DS was going
2DSs
for just by
with-
itself.
Oh yeah, maybe that's right. I was going to say it had Mario Kart with it.
I think
but-
they have been doing pack-in games for that price in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Man, yeah, if you are looking, I think we say this every time we bring up the 3DS, 2DS, and
Mhm.
these bundles, is that it's such a good deal. The 3DS has an amazing library.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, great library, and it seems like they're still supporting it in some capacity.
Yeah, the
so
3DS and 2DS will outlive us all.
That's that's right. We will all be dead, Mark, in unmarked paupers' graves.
And the 3DS will be standing over us just laughing.
Right. That's right. And it'll be leaving little bundles of cartridges like flowers at our graves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's respecting us while laughing at
Oh,
us, is
yeah,
what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
yes. Yokai Watch 2, The Psychic Specters, is releasing September 25th.
Is that like a third version?
I
of
believe
Yokai
so,
Watch?
yeah. And then Monster Hunter Stories is releasing September 8th with a demo coming on August 10th. So, yeah, it's still a great year for the 3DS. And then just a few weeks later in September, we'll get
Metroid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so I ended up not picking up the new 2DS that I had set aside for me at GameStop. I'm happy with my system. I don't need to upgrade now. I'm excited to play more games on it, and there are more coming.
Splatoon 2's first Splatfest is this weekend. It's the Mayo versus Ketchup one. Did you choose a side?
I chose a side. I
What-
chose Team Ketchup.
Yeah, me too. And I knew you would come around to Team Ketchup. Last week you were talking a big game about being Team Mayo. But...
What? A big game? I believe I said I could see arguments for either side. That's how my voice sounds in my head. But yeah, no. Team Ketchup. I've been leveling up my shirt. Have you been leveling up your shirt?
No. Oh, right. I should wear it.
Yeah, you should wear it now. Get it leveled up so that you have some powered up clothing while you're actually doing the Splatfest. But be forewarned, you will not get to keep that shirt. At the end of the Splatfest, it goes away.
Is it the same sort of thing where the what do you call them? Like the bonuses that you get are random, even for the Splatfest t-shirts?
I don't know. So the bonus that mine has on it as like its default one is that it doubles the effect of all of the other bonuses and maybe they're all like that. If you have an experience with this where it is also the double the bonus, you can write into us at Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com and let us know.
If I had looked, I could tell you, but
you didn't.
I didn't. And during the Splatfest, a new stage called Shifty Station is going to be in the mix. Unclear if the stage is a Splatfest exclusive or if it's just going to be added in going forward.
Yeah, that's nice. I hope it is a just new one going forward. Because we haven't. That'd be the first new stage.
That's right.
Introduced. Right?
The past 2 weekends, they've introduced new weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one was like a paintbrush.
Yep.
And then this last weekend, they did the Dually Squelcher.
Mm-hmm.
And did you check those out at all?
I like the dualies. I like the what are the normal ones called? Dually. I'm just gonna say splatters.
Dual splatties or something.
Dual splatters.
Right?
Yeah. I like those, but I feel like they don't have quite enough firepower, and these feel real good.
It's interesting. I don't like these for turf wars, but I do like them for some of the ranked match ones, like the tower control.
Sure, because it's a more like combative weapon. Like it's less about inking and more about
exactly. Like because for trying to spread ink, I don't think they're very useful. But I do find them better when you're trying to like splat an enemy. Pokemon the movie, I Choose You. That's the full title. I'm not declaring
interrupting the headline.
Yeah, I'm not declaring Pokemon the movie as my choice. So Pokemon the movie, I Choose You, is coming to movie theaters around the world for screenings on November 5th and November 6th. This is one of those like special Fathom event type things.
Ah, okay. So wait, is this like the original Pokemon movie?
I don't believe so. I think it's the new one that's coming out in Japan.
Okay.
And so the Pokemon company partnered with Fathom Events. And I watched I went to a similar thing for this for like the last Dragon Ball Z movie. Monsters and something, or just monsters, or gods and monsters are in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's gods and monsters.
Dragon Ball Whale. Yeah. And that was really fun.
Okay.
So I don't know that I care enough about Pokemon to go to this, but they are a good time.
I know that I do not.
Well, there you go. But they're really fun because they're limited events, because they only have a couple of screenings on each days. Usually the theaters are packed with, or at least my experience in LA has been the theaters are packed with fans.
Yeah.
And so everybody is really into it, and so it's a lot of fun that way.
Yeah, that can really make a difference when you're in a theater full of people who actually like really want to be there. You can make any movie fun.
Yeah. Switch firmware update went live yesterday. It's version 3.0.1. It's available for download now if you haven't updated your system. The update addresses an issue with the system's battery power display.
Yeah, I was reading a little bit about this where it would show like a different level of battery than it actually has, and then it would appear that like as you were playing, your battery power went up.
Oh.
It's not actually what was happening, it just appeared that way.
I mostly have been playing it docked, so I haven't noticed it.
Yeah, I haven't actually experienced this either, but it's fixed.
The Amazon Treasure Truck made the NES Classic Edition available on, it was Saturday. This past Saturday in Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Los Angeles, and Seattle for a brief period.
So, okay. you saw this.
That's right.
Did you pick one up?
I did, yeah.
What was that experience? So like you just placed the order.
Okay, so I think this might be the first time it was in LA, or they had a treasure truck in LA. But
I had not heard the phrase Amazon treasure truck
I hadn't
until this
either.
weekend.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So I think it was the first time they did it in LA, and I think that's partly why it was easier to get one. So basically the way it works is Amazon has these trucks that go to like malls or conventions or shopping centers, and they are kind of designed like an old-timey circus train car. And then they have some games that they put out on like the lawn, and but the big hook is that they have one like desirable item in stock, and then what they want you to do, and the way that you get it is you sign up to receive notifications when the treasure truck is coming.
Yeah.
And then when the notification goes out, you go to the app or to the website and you purchase whatever item is for sale.
Right.
And they just keep that order up until they run out of stock.
Right.
So that happened like before 10 a.m. here. And then from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., I could drive to the Grove, and they were holding a NES Classic Edition in this case for me, and I could just pick it up. So if you were at the Grove and it was like 3 p.m., it was already sold out. So they would just have NES Classic Edition sitting around, but you couldn't buy one because they were all on hold waiting for people to come pick them up.
Did you run into other people that were doing the same thing? Or?
Yeah, so I had to go to a wedding shower in the afternoon. So I got there at like a little before 11 to pick it up. And there was already a line of maybe like 30 or 40 people ahead of me.
So they had a lot of these things.
They had to have had just in LA alone hundreds, if not 1,000.
Wow.
So was in like 6 different cities?
Yeah.
So Amazon must have been hoarding like thousands of these.
So Amazon's
and maybe they still are. We don't even know if like they will do another one of these things with the NES Classic Edition in the future.
Right. So it's not just Amazon who we are discovering this week has been hoarding these things. There are bundles available on thinkgeek.com where you can get like the NES Classic with, some like bad souvenirs or whatever that they have. And so the bundles are, they're priced appropriately for like this item plus this item plus this item, but you're buying like $100 worth of stuff that you don't want.
Yeah, I mean, at least the the Amazon treasure truck, it was MSRP.
Yeah.
So I just paid, the $60 plus tax for it. But it's kind of, and it was eerie how easy it was for me to get one because, like I accepted the notifications, went to the app, and with one button, I had it purchased.
Right.
Versus all the time people have spent refreshing and
going to stores. And
it was February when they did their last run of this, right?
Yeah. So it's been a while.
February or April. But it's kind of gross to me that like Amazon and ThinkGeek have been sitting on thousands of these.
ThinkGeek, who is owned by GameStop, by the way. So like, yeah, it is. So Nintendo obviously has like a little bit of a hard time keeping their hardware in stock places, right? Like that's true of the 3DS, of the NES Classic, and the Switch, and was true of the Wii. And then there's also like a secondary market where people are like scalping these things and reselling them for way more than they're supposed to be. It's bothersome to me that there's like a third arm of this where retailers are hoarding these things.
Yeah.
It's so strange to me.
Well, I think it's particularly kind of gross what ThinkGeek is doing.
Yeah.
And what we see a lot of companies doing with the Switch currently, where it's like, you'll see it on like Walmart.com, or again, like GameStop does this, where online they're only selling them in bundles.
Yeah.
So when they are available, it's like this plus a lot of times like $100 worth of stuff that I personally think is junk.
Yeah. And I mean, like, you don't want to buy the Zelda strategy guide. You're just gonna look it up online or just play the game.
Or like, how many keychains do you need?
Yeah. I got some beef with keychains. The Puyo Puyo Tetris came with a set of keychains, and I saw there's a collector's edition of Metroid that I think GameStop is selling that is also coming with a keychain. What when did this start? When did keychains with your games? When was that? When did that come about?
It just the whole thing feels exploitative.
Yeah, yeah. So I've heard both. Oh, now that we're thinking about how to say this word,
I know that's the problem. I started to think about it and got tripped up on.
exploitative.
Yeah. Anyways, it
Yes.
feels gross. Like it
Mhm.
feels a little bit wrong to be doing that. I don't know. Anyways, I got an NES Classic Edition. I'm going to a number of weddings, so I'm looking to give it away as a gift.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting to get another one.
Right.
The whole process was just very surreal.
Right. Well, and you texted me and you were like, "Are you doing this?" And I don't know if it just because we've been talking about them not being in stock for so long, but I was just like, I'm gonna let I could get another one and give it to someone, I guess. But I'm just gonna let another person get it. I'm just gonna let another person get it. Which I feel okay about. Also, I'm spending a lot of money on Nintendo stuff. I got 6 amiibos 2 weeks ago.
I just hope this doesn't get retailers thinking ahead for the SNES Classic Edition.
Right, so they're only putting half of them out on store shelves.
Right, because then they're like, well, we'll just hoard the rest of them to release a year from now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
Speaking of the SNES Classic.
So last week we talked about Walmart briefly put up some pre-orders.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a slow trickle of cancellations. And nobody was really... I think everybody was assuming that they were all going to get canceled, but nobody knew for sure. And then Walmart just came out and said this past week, they were like, yeah, we're canceling all of them.
All of them are canceled.
Yeah, so if you had a pre-order for a SNES Classic Edition from Walmart, it is gone.
Yeah, and Walmart is saying that it was a glitch that they were made available.
Yeah. Who knows? One customer service representative allegedly told somebody inquiring about it that the manufacturer, who in this case would be Nintendo, had requested that they cancel all of them. That's just from one customer service rep, so who knows how true that is.
Much validity there's there.
Yeah, but it is interesting that Walmart was the only one that did open up pre-orders.
Right.
And has since canceled them. So, I don't know.
Again, it's another retailer working against us, Mark. We just want to play these games.
We just want to play these games.
We just want to play these games.
Nintendo's confirmed that the Fusion mode, which is the hard mode in Metroid's Samus Returns, is locked behind the Metroid amiibo.
Yeah,
there was some question about this.
Yeah, there was some question about whether that was the only way to get it. It sounds like that is confirmed. It's the only way to play the hard mode. I don't care. I don't care. I mean,
I don't care either, but that's only because I don't really care for hard modes.
Right, and I don't care because I'm going to get the amiibo anyway.
And I won't, but I can always just use yours.
That's right.
We talked about this. I think we talked about this last week when we were talking about the functionality of the amiibo, and you were saying that the challenge modes of the first Splatoon's single player were also locked behind amiibo, correct?
That's right. Yeah, and I don't remember people being upset about that. I've read a lot of people being upset about this hard mode being locked behind the amiibo, but I don't know, man. As someone who collects amiibo, I like that they're cool little Nintendo statues, but I also like that they give me stuff in games.
It's rare that Nintendo does this, lock a hard mode or something behind amiibo. I'm not crazy about it. I think I'd be more okay. I guess we'll see what the availability of that specific amiibo is.
Yeah.
If the world is lousy with them, that I'm not as concerned about it.
Right. If they're like Tom Nooks and you can just go into any Toys R Us and find a bunch of Animal Crossing amiibo.
Then it's just some strange sort of DLC.
Yeah.
But if they're impossible to find, then I think that's kind of poor form.
Sure. If they're impossible to find, then I will join everyone's outrage. But I mean, it's not going to be impossible to find, right?
Has there been an amiibo recently that has been incredibly difficult to find?
The Zelda ones haven't been super easy. Depending on which ones they are, like the Majora's Mask, and I only recently got the Guardian from Breath of the Wild. So some of them, yeah, but I mean, all of the like Splatoon stuff is plentiful.
A class action lawsuit has been filed against Pokemon Go developer Niantic. We talked about last week how the first Pokemon Go Fest was a disaster for them,
Mm-hmm.
and the claim reasons that the event did not deliver the experience as advertised and is seeking some like ridiculous amount in damages.
This is dumb.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I don't.
It's not like people got hurt.
No one got hurt. Like maybe you flew to Chicago when you didn't mean to fly to Chicago.
Well, you meant to.
You
fly
meant
to. Chicago.
to.
Yeah.
Right, but like, did you have some nice food?
Right.
Did you drink a beer?
Niantic is refunding your
Mm-hmm.
the cost of your entry.
Mm-hmm.
They are giving you $100 of in-game currency.
$100.
So yeah, I don't feel a lot of sympathy.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Ultra Street Fighter 2, Capcom's first and only Switch game
Thus far
to this point, is reportedly a hit. Capcom's calling it a hit, and it sold 450,000 copies, probably is more at this point, in the first quarter, well above Capcom's expectations, well above basically what it deserved.
Well, yeah.
It was like a $40 like easy port of
Yes.
Street Fighter 2.
Mm-hmm. But it did have that bad motion control.
That's right.
Mode.
But that's an insane amount of like 500,000 copies.
Yeah.
For something that had to have been low effort.
Yeah.
Like that had to be great news for Capcom.
I mean, it's Street Fighter 2. It's still even if it's like a lazy port or whatever, Street Fighter 2 is still one of like the best games. So like it's a good game. There weren't that many on the Switch at the time. Yeah, I bought it.
So I don't know that the number of games on the Switch at the time contributed to its success.
Yeah.
Because there have been a lot of games that have come out on the Switch.
Sure.
And a lot of them have sold not like amazing, but well for third party, like for indie games and stuff like that. So I think it's also possible that people who own Switches are buying a lot of games.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. I think the attach rate is higher than anyone's expecting. I think people are just excited about the Switch.
Yeah. I know I am. I think I already own 8 games, which is maybe tied or a couple less than I own for the PS4, which I've owned for, like many years at this point.
Yeah, if we're not counting games that I got for free on PS Plus, then for sure I have more Switch games than I do PlayStation 4 games.
So the Wall Street Journal is reporting that the publisher, i.e. Capcom, is starting to prepare multiple Switch version titles. No word on what they might be or really what that means, but
right.
It does seem like
they ports? Are they like ports of current stuff, ports of old stuff, or is it something new developed for Switch?
Right. And I was trying to think of IPs that have been on Nintendo platforms recently from Capcom, and really that number is Monster Hunter and Phoenix Wright, like Ace Attorney. And look, I'd love...
And Street Fighter 2.
And Street Fighter 2. I would love an HD Ace Attorney game.
Sure.
So hopefully that's coming. I think whether or not Monster Hunter Double Cross comes to the West, I think that we will get another Monster Hunter game on the Switch. But it would be great to see other Capcom IP. I mean, I'm trying to even think of what that is at this point.
Marvel versus Capcom should definitely come to this thing. And then, they don't seem to care about it, but Mega Man, like, do something with Mega Man. So many of the experiences that I'm having on Switch are like Mega Man adjacent anyway. That Mighty Gun Volt Burst is
I keep
fun.
needing to pick that up because the little bit I played here was super fun, and it's only $10.
Yeah.
So both you and I like Resident Evil quite a bit.
Yes.
And so if Resident Evil 7 came to the Switch,
yes,
would you buy it?
Yes, I
think
would.
I would too.
It's so weird to me that it's a hang up for me that like I just don't want to turn on my PlayStation 4.
I know, because I think we could get it fairly cheap for the PS4 at this point.
That's a great point.
But yeah,
I'm still
I would
not
hold
gonna
out
do
for
it.
it. Yeah. 3 TurboGrafx 16 games were released on the Wii U eShop last week.
Okay, so most of the words in this sentence don't make sense in 2017, right?
I don't understand their Wii U strategy.
Yeah.
I guess it's nice that they are releasing things because there is an install base of Wii U owners,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I don't get it.
One of the games released is Air Zonk, which is like a side-scrolling flying. It takes Bonk the caveman and moves him into the future.
I was gonna ask if it was Bonk related.
It is Bonk related. So I may fire up the old Wii U and download me some Air Zonk.
Then the other two are Ninja Spirit and Victory Run.
I can't tell you anything about either of those two other games.
Nope. Nintendo's financial results for the first quarter of this year, which were April 2017 to June 2017, are in, and results are good.
Good.
Profits are up over 150% from this time last year. But the big news is basically the Switch hardware numbers were 4.7 million.
So that's total units sold to date, right?
I believe so. I think that includes, that's total sold to date. So that includes the ones that were sold in March before the start of the previous quarter. So Nintendo did not change their guidance for the year on Switch hardware. They're sticking at 10 million units sold for the fiscal year. So that number, the 10 million, does not include the 2 and change that was sold in March.
Interesting.
So that leads me to believe that while they are going to continue to ramp up production, and just anecdotally, it seems like the Switch has become a little bit more readily available in the LA
you can
area.
see them in stores, yeah.
And if you're like on the lookout for it, you can definitely pick one up. They're still not just like walk into the store and grab one,
right?
In most cases. So, and Nintendo had already promised that going into the fall, production would ramp up more. But so them sticking with their 10 million makes me think that either they're being incredibly conservative, or they just know what their manufacturing capabilities are, and they're maxed out for the fiscal year at 10 billion.
Right. I mean, they gotta keep making 2DSs.
Yep.
They gotta make a bunch of Super NES classics. Plus, these NES classics are coming from somewhere.
Well, they're still making 3DSs.
Mm-hmm.
They're apparently still making regular 2DSs.
Yeah.
They have the Super Nintendo Classic coming out. Yeah, like you said. And also, we know that components are scarce, like the memory.
Yeah.
That Nintendo's competing against big players like Samsung
and
LG
Apple,
and Apple and all these people who are buying up the memory that are used in the Switch. So it's not like it's not like Nintendo doesn't have the option.
Right.
Right? Because Nintendo is also buying this memory at a much smaller quantity.
Mm-hmm. Which means it's probably more expensive.
Yeah, and not only more expensive, but if you're like Samsung or any of the other companies that are making this memory, if Apple's like, hey, I need 120 million of these and I'll pay you $10 per like memory unit.
Right.
And even if Nintendo's like, oh, we'll pay you $20, but for, I don't know, like 20 million.
Right. Like,
they're going to make the 120 million.
Of course, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see when supply and demand equal out. I don't expect it'll be this year.
Yeah, I mean, really, the number saying that 4.7 million Switches have been sold really just means 4.7 million Switches have been made.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's a really good start for Switch, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at this point, at this time next year, it'll probably have already outsold the Wii U's lifetime to date.
Which is pretty crazy. We got a little bit of information on that, right? That to date, the Wii U has sold 13.56 million units.
Yeah.
And that's probably where that thing stops. Just at 13.5, which is not great.
No.
For lifetime sales of a console. The 3DS has already sold more than 4 times that. And obviously still being supported, so like I could imagine those numbers continuing to go up in the future.
And then finally, Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age is officially coming to the West in 2018. I think that's the first time that we've heard the English localization of the title.
Echoes of an Elusive Age.
Yeah, I kind of like it. It
It's-
feels very evocative.
It's very evocative.
Yeah, I'm imagining like English moors and just
Lots of moody mist.
yes. So thanks to a video uploaded by PlayStation EU, the PS4 version is for sure coming. We know that because it was like announced through that video. But I'd be surprised if we don't see it released on a Nintendo console in some form, either the 3DS version or the Switch version. Obviously, an official PlayStation video isn't going to talk about either of those.
That's right.
And apparently the script for Dragon Quest XI has been released in Japan, and both the PS4 version and the 3DS version. Apparently the script between the PS4 and the 3DS version are identical, so it's not like localization would be... It's not like they need to localize... It's not localizing a second game to bring the 3DS version over.
Right.
Also, a Switch version supposedly exists. It's been announced, but we know nothing about it otherwise.
That's right. So we don't know if the Switch version is
the PS4 version or the 3DS version or some... I mean, it seems unlikely, but maybe some hybrid of the two.
Or a new thing entirely.
Yeah, or a new thing entirely. I don't know. I could see an argument for any of it. I could see an argument for the you know what I mean? Like, I could see the PS4 version and the Switch version. I could see the PS4 version and the 3DS version. I could see just the PS4 version. I'm personally hoping it comes out on the 3DS and the Switch because, as we talked about with Resident Evil 7, I'd rather buy it on the Switch if I can.
That's right.
And the 3DS version, I like that it has the old school, like 16-bit-ish graphics, so I kind of want it for that as well.
Mark, let's get out of the news. That's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, you can check back with us on Thursday when we are going to have a long-form topic. Mark and I are placing $1 million bet who can more accurately predict the forthcoming...
Allegedly
forthcoming Nintendo 64 Classic Edition. So start your list of what that is and join us on Thursday. But in the meantime, if you would like to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, that would be great. If you like the episode, please share it on social media or in person. That helps us out a lot. You can follow us on Twitter at NinCart Society. The Facebook page is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. And of course, our email address is Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. If you like Mark and Mine's opinions, we write about comic books on retconpunch.com. Olivia Duncan made our logo. 8-Bit Betty made our music. This is what that sounds like. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thanks for listening.